Hello and good evening, friends, and welcome to another edition of Strictly Sports. I am your host, as always, Anthony Florio, joined by good old MF Michael Fletcher, Michael Bullock here as well. And we got a big show for you all here this evening. And without any further ado, let's start it off right now. Last week, a couple of weeks ago, the weekend of the WWE Royal Rumble event also served as the weekend of the NHL All Star festivities. You know, we had the NHL, the skills competition, and you also had the game itself, and we started it off with the skills competition, which of course all of this went down at the Enterprise Center in St. Louis, Missouri, the home of your Stanley Cup champion St. Louis Blues. And by the way, before we get further into anything, prayers for Jay Bomeister. I mean, if you didn't see that scary scene the other night where he collapsed in a game against the Anaheim Ducks, cardiac arrest, we wish him a very speedy recovery, and our thoughts and prayers are with you, my brother. That's all there is to say on that. So, but anyways, let's get back into the action here. We had the fastest skater, which was won by Matthew Barzal. He won it in 13.175 seconds. And very, very impressive win there. Then they had the save streak for the goaltenders. And the winner was the hometown boy himself from your Stanley Cup champion St. Louis Blues, Jordan Binnington. 10 consecutive saves was the winner there. And then in the accuracy shooting contest, it was the Carolina Hurricanes' Jakub Slavin who won it in 9.505 seconds. You remember he replaced his injured teammate, Dougie Hamilton. And what a moment for him. And then perhaps what was the highlight of the skills competition here, the Elite Women's 3-on-3 game, Team Canada versus Team USA. Team Canada picks up the win. They won the game by a score of 2-1. Rebecca Johnston and Melody Doust were the goal scorers, and Hillary Knight scored for Team USA, but it was Team Canada who picked up the win 2-1. Hardest shot, that went to Shea Weber of the Montreal Canadiens. 106.5 was the winning score. And then from there, we had the shooting stars. Now, this was a brand new event to the Skills Challenge. It featured players going into the stands to shoot for targets at center ice that each had designated point values. And much to the chagrin of the St. Louis Blues fans, Patrick Kane from their most hated rival, the Chicago Blackhawks, he picked up that win. And it actually came down to a tiebreaker. Mitch Marner of the Toronto Maple Leafs was also tied with Patrick Kane on 22. They had a one-shot tiebreaker. Marner missed completely, and Kane with a 2-pointer. That's all he needed for the win. And, well, that's pretty much all there is to say on that. So that's what happened at the skills competition. And then as far as the All-Star game itself, we had a first-time winner. And let me just get into this. And all right. And as far as the game itself goes, we started with in the first game, it was the Atlantic Division against the Metropolitan Division. The Atlantic Division won that game by a score of 9-5. And then in the second game, the Pacific Division beat the Central Division by a count of 10-5. And then in the final, it was the Atlantic Division against the Pacific Division, and the Pacific Division won that game by a score of 5-4. And the MVP of the All-Star game, much to the delight of Michael Bullock and all the Boston Bruins faithful out there, a former St. Louis Blue in his own right, David Pastrnak. Despite being on the losing team, he was awarded the MVP. He recorded a total of 4 goals and 2 assists in the 2 games. So congratulations to Pastrnak. But it was the Pacific Division that wound up winning it and winning the $1 million prize that goes with winning the All-Star game. That awesome new wrinkle they threw in a number of years ago. So very entertaining weekend as always. I mean, the skills competition just gets better and better. And I love that new event, that final event, that Shooting Stars, where they were up in the crowd stands. I mean, just what a thrill and what a spectacle that was. And I mean, I like the skills competition honestly more than the game itself, and I feel the same way about the NBA, which we'll get into in our main event this evening. But nonetheless, it was a great weekend. The All-Star weekend never disappoints. MF and I, we had all the fun with it. Not just the game itself, but we also do the skills competition as well. And I mean, we had a blast, and I can't wait to do it again next year. Sunrise, Florida, the home of the Florida Panthers. That's where the 2021 NHL All-Star Game will commence, and I cannot wait to get down there. So, a number of years ago, I remember we did one. I think it was in 2004, I think, or something. I'll look into it, but I do know Florida had a game recently, and that's all I can say on that. So well done, and it was a great event, and St. Louis, you did your thing. I mean, well done. I mean, it was a great atmosphere. I mean, just like it was during the Blues' great Stanley Cup run last year, and the last time it was in Florida, I stand corrected. It was in 2003. 2003 was the last time the game was in Sunrise, Florida, and that's where it's going to be next year, the BB&T Center, the home of the Panthers. So, all right, Florida, what do you got? That's all I can say on that. Thank you to St. Louis. Great job as always, and nothing really more to say on it. So, very much enjoyed it. So, good old MF Michael Fletcher. Doc, come on in. I mean, every year, the All-Star game and the skills competition gets better and better. But the skills competition, though, what about that new event? You had a lot of fun with it.
I was marveling over the fact of how the guys were shooting the pucks from that elevated platform, and we didn't know what we were going to expect when the game was happening, but it was an incredible event, and yeah, the entire night was awesome. The entire night was absolutely incredible when it comes to the event itself. So no, I got really nothing bad to say. I really enjoyed it. I think it was a great night as far as being a part of the All-Star weekend, and the game itself actually lived up to the hype. I mean, it was an incredible game. It was an incredible event. St. Louis was an absolute great home and great host for the All-Star game. And for me, I really enjoyed it. I really had nothing bad to say about it. We were expecting it to be a great game. We were wondering, was it going to be different from the other years? And it really turned out to be better than expected. So great game, great event. And no, I believe the right team won. The Pacific Division has won the All-Star game this year. And if you remember, up to this point in the All-Star game, the Pacific or the Metro has won this thing since they've done this new format. So I think it's getting better and better by the year. It's more entertaining. You can tell that, they don't really play hard in the first couple of games, but when the $1 million is on the line, when they're playing for it all, then you start to see the real stars to shine and come out and really, really, really play a stronger game. So at the end, I think that's the way we got to say it. Great All-Star game, but the right team won. Nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, just give me your thoughts on the All-Star weekend.
Yeah, I thought the entire All-Star weekend was a real good weekend. I mean, the skills competition always seems to amaze me. Yeah, and everything was really good with the skills competition. But I mean, the consecutive saves thing. I mean, with Jordan Bennington winning it. I mean, here's the thing, guys. Remember last season, when Jordan Bennington came in as the goaltender. I mean, I guess you guys could say, I don't know how you guys feel, he was just another goaltender because we didn't even know who he was at the time. And many people wondered, oh, how is he going to prove it in the big games like the Stanley Cup final? I mean, he turned out, I thought he played a really good Stanley Cup final, especially against, of course, against my Boston Bruins, unfortunately. But he certainly proved in that consecutive saves competition that what he did during that Stanley Cup championship run was not a fluke, and he is proving why he is their number one goaltender. So, and as far as the game itself goes, I mean, I agree, the right division won, and I think the All-Star game continues to get better and better. I mean, yeah, the first two was what you normally would see, but then when you got to where the winner gets $1 million, that's when the competition really heats up, and this is why, and I don't know how you guys feel, why the NHL All-Star game is beyond better than the NBA All-Star game, because at least for what we saw at the NHL All-Star game, at least they were playing for something. In the NBA All-Star game, they don't play for anything, and literally they don't play any defense. So
I think this year is going to be very different. So I think this year's All-Star game could be very Well, no, not just because of Kobe, but
just one of the things.
One of the things is yes, but we'll get into it in just a matter of minutes about the All-Star game because we're talking about it here tonight. But there is something I like about the format this year. So we'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah, we'll definitely address it once we get to it. So let's just move right along, Florio.
Yes, and that will be in our main event. Well, the second half of our double main event. We have a double main event on this show here this evening, and we're almost at it. There's one of the other piece of business we need to get into before our big double main event. And I do stand corrected. This is the Pacific Division's third win of the All-Star game. The Metropolitan has won 2. The Atlantic and the Central have not won the All-Star game since this new format started back in 2016. So that's all there is to say on that. Now, and unfortunately, Michael Bullock, cover your ears because we got to talk about this. Blockbuster trade in Major League Baseball that went down this week, nearly a week after it was originally reported. The Mookie Betts trade finally happened. The Boston Red Sox.
Before you continue on, Florio, I know you already said for me to cover my ears, but the thing is, I'm not all that upset because this was expected to happen.
Fair enough. The Boston Red Sox sent Mookie Betts and David Price to the Los Angeles Dodgers in a revised deal that is now a pair of 2-team trades rather than one big 3-team trade with the Minnesota Twins. Jeff Passan of ESPN and Ken Rosenthal reported on Sunday night. They announced the trade. The Dodgers and the Red Sox announced their trade on Monday. Here are the revised terms of the trades. The Dodgers, the Los Angeles Dodgers get Mookie Betts, David Price, Cash, all from Red Sox, and Brewstar, Gratterall, outfielder Luke Raley, 2020 competitive round B draft pick from the Minnesota Twins. The Red Sox get Alex Verdugo, Jeter Downs, and Connor Wong from the Dodgers. And the Minnesota Twins got Kenta Maeda, catcher Jair Camargo, and Cash from the Los Angeles Dodgers. So there are all the schematics of it. MF, I mean, what a blockbuster trade. And Mookie Betts, the former American League MVP, is going west along with David Price. And you heard all the names and all the stuff that went down. So I'm very curious. What are your thoughts?
Well, first off, let me say it like this. As it pertains to the Dodgers, these are moves that you want to do, especially with David Price and with Mookie Betts. This is an all-in move for them to try to get to the World Series. For the last few years, they've been getting very close, but they can never break through. They got to the World Series, lost to the Houston Astros. Got to the NLCS last year, got upended by the Washington Nationals. Oh, by the way, who went on to win the World Series. So, I mean, they've been very, very close. They've been dangerously close for the last, I want to say, 3-4 years, where they easily could have been World Series champions, and they haven't done it. And now they add David Price, who you never know with Price. Price is a very good pitcher. If he does really well, he might do something really good. Mookie Betts is a bona fide superstar. We already know he's a great player. Plus, for the Boston Red Sox, you're not getting any slouches right now. Two of the guys that you're going to get is going to be guys that's going to start in the AAA system. So you're going to see them in Pawtucket. And who knows? They could make the big team if they get there. The big piece for them is a great batter who hits on the left side that's probably going to be abusing the living daylights out of that green monster. So he's a good player. I don't think, and I've heard some knocks about him say, oh, he's not going to be that great. He's going to be this. He was good for the Dodgers, but it's a different. No. Whenever you play at Fenway Park, the guy I'm thinking of is the all-star for the Dodgers. I can't remember the name. Florio, you can help me out on that, please. But at the end of the day, here it is. This is a great opportunity for the Dodgers. They're all in. As far as the Red Sox go, obviously right now you're feeling like, this is not good. Maybe a partial rebuild, not full-scale rebuild. I'm not going to say that. But it looks like a partial rebuild. They're not going to win the division. It looks like that's going to be the Yankees. But I would not discount them out for a wild card. They are just as good. Maybe a major player there. But remember, you got teams like Tampa that I think it's going to be dangerous. They were really good last year. I think they're going to be there again this year. The Red Sox right now are probably the third best team in the division. I don't think that's going to be enough to get them over. So, I mean, it's a minor rebuild. It's not a major rebuild. But you put a couple of pieces together, maybe we might be talking about the Boston Red Sox making a run at possibly a wild card. But I like the moves that they did. I really got nothing more to add. So, Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I mean, I think the trade I thought was a good move for both sides because let's not forget one thing, guys. The farm system in Boston is really not that good. So you get these three young guys, it certainly helps out a little bit. But here's another key thing when it comes to this trade, guys. And Fletcher, I'm surprised you didn't even mention this. It's about getting under that luxury tax, because the thing is, I mean, because if they were still over the luxury tax, I mean, they would have probably gotten like some kind of penalty for it. So they shedded some of that money of the huge contract they gave to David Price, and I mean, the only good season that he had was obviously that championship season in 2018, where he finally won a postseason game. But all the other times, it's pretty much left to be desired, especially with the whole Dennis Eckersley controversy. So I'm pretty sure there are some fans who are probably happy that he's gone. You don't have to deal with that nonsense. And Mookie Betts, I mean, the thing is, guys, he was going into the final year of his deal. And the Red Sox, I mean, when they were hoping to keep him, they were far off when it comes to the money on a contract to keep him there. The Red Sox wanted him for $300 million. The Betts camp wants $420 million. So as soon as you knew that, it's like the Red Sox had to get rid of him, because the thing is, you want some guys in return instead of like letting Mookie Betts play out his contract and then all of a sudden letting him go into free agency and basically getting nothing in return. So some feel like I feel this was a necessary move. I mean, am I happy that one of the popular players on the Red Sox is gone? I mean, I'm not happy that he's gone, but I mean, it's thinking about the future. I mean, the thing is, guys, I mean, I don't expect the Sox to be a playoff team this year, but it's all about the future of this franchise. So if it means getting rid of your franchise player in Mookie Betts, then it had to be done. I mean, I know some Sox fans are going to be stunned with what I had to say, but the thing is, it was necessary as far as I'm concerned, because it's all about the future and it's all about getting under that luxury tax. Florio, what's yours?
All right, I'm going to put on my Tim McCarver hat here now. So I'm going to make it real clear for all of you out here. Mookie Betts is not the type of player you trade. He's the type of guy you build around. He's someone that 29 other MLB teams dream of developing. Removing him from the lineup due to luxury tax concerns, that was absolutely foolish. I didn't like that at all. I really did not. The Boston Red Sox won the World Series in 2018 with Mookie Betts at the forefront of their success. He won the AL MVP award that season and was worth more than 10 wins over replacement per Baseball Reference. This past campaign, Betts was worth 6.8 in that same category and played Gold Glove defense in right field. Good players make money. Good players get paid. That's the way pro sports works. Betts is going to command $300+ million in free agency next offseason. And the fact the Red Sox were so scared of having to pay him for a year before free agency that they sent him to another championship contender, that was, I'm sorry. I can't defend that. I can't. If you're Boston, was keeping Betts around and making a 2020 run in the World Series that crazy of an idea? What would be the harm? You're 1 year removed from winning it all with largely the same group of players, but instead you trade away Betts and Price, who was a serviceable starter for Boston after his arrival in 2016. Not the best, but serviceable. And it was a pure salary dump. And for a team like Boston, which is an attendance juggernaut and one of the most profitable organizations in the game, and it's now one of them, and is also one of the most valuable organizations. I mean, that was a very unnecessary move, and I cannot defend that move. I'm sorry. But for now, the Red Sox, they gained financial flexibility, which means they may be able to sign a player the caliber of Mookie Betts one day. In return, they get Verdugo, who, to be fair, is no slouch and played to 3.1 wins above replacement last season. Long considered one of the top prospects in the Dodgers system. He could flat out hit. He's also a top-tier defender with a high ceiling. But with all due respect to Verdugo, the chances of him becoming Mookie Betts are very, very slim. And they also got Downs, one of the Dodgers' top prospects, who reached Double-A last year. Downs' defensive capabilities play more at second than shortstop per scouting reports, something that could fill a future need for the Red Sox. And lastly, going to Boston is Wong, a catcher who spent time in Double-A last year, hit a lot there. With a .349 average and 9 home runs in 40 games, his bat is lively, and he's a nice third piece in this deal. The caveat, for what it's worth, he does not grade inside MLB Pipeline's top 100 prospects, nor does he rank in the same site's top 10 at the position. That could probably change this year should he continue to grow on defense and continue to hit. But the most confusing part about the deal is the return for the Red Sox. With Boston's farm system near the bottom of the majors, some of that is due to prior trades, some because of graduations to the majors. Wouldn't it make more sense for Mookie Betts to be traded for a future-altering package of prospects? Prospects are suspects, after all. But if you're going to trade a top 5 player in Mookie Betts for an outfielder whose clock is started, an infielder with no set position at Double-A, and a catcher who projects best as a platoon type, the return seems light. A farm system replenishing deal could at least have helped move the organization forward in the next 5 years. Now, as far as the Dodgers are concerned, I don't care about David Price's salary number. The best players, the guys who help teams win World Series, those guys get paid. And early reports say that Boston was paying down Price's contract by half, meaning he'll only be on the books for about $16 million a year over the final 3 years of the deal. That itself is a win for a team like the Dodgers, who consistently get the most out of their pitching staff. The Dodgers, abiding by that logic, were not afraid to take on Price's remaining money in order to also acquire one of the 5 best players in baseball and his own $27 million salary figure. They saw an opportunity to pair Cody Bellinger and Mookie Betts in the outfield and lengthen their rotation by acquiring a proven starter, and they smartly pulled the trigger. It hurts to give up Verdugo, but 3 things to keep in mind. Trades are supposed to hurt. There's a decent chance Price outperforms what Kenta Maeda, who's now going to Minnesota, in a separate trade for pitcher Brusdar Graterol, could have done for the Dodgers over the next few years. And Mookie Betts should be a massive short-term upgrade over Verdugo. The Dodgers have been to 2 of the last 3 World Series. Obviously, MF forgot about 2018 when they lost to, the Red Sox. And lost in the division series, not the LCS. They lost in the division series to the eventual World Series champion Washington Nationals. Rather than rest on their laurels and wait for more of their prospects to perform, they went out and got better. All it took was dealing from a position of strength. The good news for the Dodgers is that they still have an absolutely loaded outfield led by Bellinger and Betts, a deep farm system that still includes top catching prospect Keibert Ruiz, middle infielder Gavin Lux, and right-hander Dustin May. The latter 2 made their debut this year, but the farm system is still loaded with talent. I see this as an absolute win for the Los Angeles Dodgers, and LA should too. And I think they're going to be one of the teams to beat in the National League. Right now, the Dodgers and the Yankees, in my book, are my 2 early favorites right now, as far as winning it all in 2020 goes. But the season doesn't start for another month and a half or so. It starts right around the end of March, about a week or 2 before WrestleMania. So it's going to be amazing. And that's really all I can say on that. So to me, the Dodgers got far and away got the better end of this deal. I'm sorry, Bullet, but that's just the way it is. So let's just move on now. And we have a double main event, and we're going to start it off with week 2 of the XFL. The XFL, of course, started last weekend, and it was a rousing success. I mean, what else is there to say? I mean, it was from top to bottom. It was a fantastic weekend, and you know what happened in week.
Florio, sorry to interrupt, but
Go ahead, Boy.
you're going into week 2 of the XFL, right?
That is correct.
The thing is, I mean, I'm not really that much into the XFL. I mean, I'm not trying to say it's bad. I mean, it's a good thing, but I'm just really not that into it like you guys are.
So you want to recluse yourself? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm going to
All right.
recluse myself from this. I mean, I'm not trying to say anything bad about it. I agree it from the highlights I've seen.
Fair
It's
enough.
good, but I'm just not really all that into it like you guys are. I mean, that's just how I feel.
Fair enough.
That's fair enough. You're no problem. You're reclused. So MF and I will take the reins on this one. So what happened here last week in the opening weekend? Now here's how it all goes down. We have 8 teams. We have 2 conferences. There's an Eastern Conference and a Western Conference. In the Eastern Conference, you have, in no particular order, you have the DC Defenders. You have the New York Guardians, which happens to be, well, here you go, Eastern Conference. It's the DC Defenders, the New York Guardians, the St. Louis Battlehawks, and the Tampa Bay Vipers. And in the Western Conference, you have the Houston Roughnecks, the Los Angeles Wildcats, the Seattle Dragons, and the Dallas Renegades. What happened here in the first game? The DC Defenders, they defeated the Seattle Dragons by a score of 31-19, led by Cardale Jones. You remember him from his Ohio State days. 16 out of 26, 291 yards, 2 TDs. Also led the team in rushing. And a 31-19 win over Seattle. In the second game, the Houston Roughnecks put a whooping on the Los Angeles Wildcats by a score of 37-17. Houston quarterback PJ Walker, the standout, 272 yards, 4 touchdowns, 23 of 39 passing. And Houston's defense did not allow a touchdown in the final 39 minutes of the game and shut out LA in the second half. But LA did look good in the first half, especially Smallwood, who channeled his inner Randy Orton, much to the delight of MF.
That was epic.
And that's why MF is an LA Wildcats fan. So that's all there was to say on that. In the third game, much to my delight, and MF and I, we actually do have teams. And it's dating back to the days of the original XFL. In the original XFL, MF had a team. He rooted for the Los Angeles Extreme. It worked out well. The LA Extreme won the only XFL championship. So that worked out well for you. For me, the team I grew up, I rooted for was the New York, New Jersey Hitmen. And it's because of that, I pledged my allegiance to the New York Guardians. And oh my goodness, did they look good. They looked incredible against the Tampa Bay Vipers, beating them 23-3. Just an amazing, dominant performance by New York, especially on the defensive side. And then from there, the team that was, well, hold on. Just want to get the quick thought in here. Just looking for it here. in the Guardian game, I mean, they put together an excellent defensive performance, allowing just 3 points, forcing 3 turnovers. Their quarterback, Aaron Murray, he struggled. And, Matt McGloin played very well for New York and had a rushing touchdown. And New York also had a fumble return touchdown. And Murray threw 2 interceptions, including one in the end zone. And his backup did not fare much better. And they netted 394 yards of offense to Tampa, but they scored 0 touchdowns. They turned the ball over 5 times, including 2 turnovers on downs. And that's all there is to say on that. So I was very pleased with the New York Guardians' effort. Their motto is on duty. And oh boy, were they on duty. That's all I can say on that. And then they won that game 23-3. And then in the final game, the St. Louis Battlehawks against the Dallas Renegades. Now, let me just say this. I have to correct MF here. The stadium where the Dallas Renegades play, that is the old stadium of the Texas Rangers, formerly the ballpark in Arlington. This year, the Texas Rangers are opening a new ballpark. I've seen it, and it looks beautiful.
I found out that they're converting the old stadium, the old ballpark in Arlington, and they're gonna convert that into a soccer and football stadium. So instead of tearing it down, that's gonna be the new home for them. So maybe if there's an MLS team or a minor league soccer team, or if the XFL does continue to be in function, then this Global Life stadium, or I guess it's a Global Life Park is what they're calling it. They'll keep that as their thing. So that's what I heard.
Okay, fair enough. But nonetheless, going into the season, the odds makers had projected that the Dallas Renegades were the odds-on favorites to win the XFL championship because of the likes of Bob Stoops as their head coach and his former Oklahoma quarterback, Landry Jones, and some other things. But St. Louis went in there and stole it by a score of 15-9. Now, there's new rules here. When they kick off the ball, when we have kickoff, they don't come right at you. They wait until the returner catches the ball, and then they go after them. When you score a touchdown, instead of an extra point, you can opt for 1 point from the closest spot on the field, 2 points from a little further back, and then 3 points at the furthest possible spot. And that's really all there is to say on that. So those are just some of the new rules, and there are some standout players in this league. So that's really all we can say on this. So now week number 2, and we're going to be starting it off with maybe the game of the week right here. 2 of the games will feature 1-0 teams going against each other. The other 2 games will feature 0-1 teams against each other. So that's going to be very, very interesting. So what we have here, New York Guardians squaring off against the DC Defenders. This game will be on ABC at 2 p.m. on Saturday from Audi Field in DC, and it'll be Steve Levy, Greg McElroy, Tom Luginbill, and Diana Rossini, and that's the lineup for this matchup. And I gotta check the odds here quick, but this is without question the game right here, and just waiting for it. So here we are. Now this is a tough one to call here. I mean, it really is. Of course, I'm gonna be rooting for my New York Guardians. I mean, especially after that surprisingly exciting performance against Tampa, but I don't know. I mean, with the game being in DC, I mean, ugh. Before I get into this, the only thing that I have left to I forgot to mention was it's a 10-week regular season. 10 weeks. The top two teams from the East will square off in an Eastern Conference Championship game on Saturday, April 18th. The top two teams from the Western Conference will square off in a Western Conference Championship game on Sunday, April 19th. And then from there, those two winners, the East champion and the West champion, will battle it out for the XFL Championship on Sunday, April 26th. So just wanted to get that out there. New York Guardians, DC Defenders, Audi Field in Washington, D.C. DC opening up as a 5.5-point favorite. How much of the Guardians' Week 1 defensive dominance was a result of their own talent, and how much was a result of the Vipers just being atrocious? That's the key question for them moving forward, no matter what. No matter what, it's going to be a challenge for New York to hit the road and outplay DC. Maybe the Guardians get after Cardale Jones, but even then, I mean, just hold on a minute. I got to pop up video here. So, all right, here we go. Maybe the Guardians do get after Cardale Jones, but even then, the Defenders secondary should pose just as many, if not more problems for Matt McGloin. Simply put, Pep Hamilton's squad is more talented. I think DC will be 2-0 by Saturday night, but it will not be an easy game. So it's the game of the week, no doubt about it. But I'm going with DC to win. As much as I want to see my New York Guardians get off to a 2-0 start, I got DC winning by a score of 23-19. There's nothing more to say. MF, New York, DC, perhaps this could be an Eastern Championship preview here.
Maybe, but I'm actually going to disagree with you, Anthony. I liked what New York brought to the table. I think they were a really good team last week. I'm going to go with the New York Guardians to win the game. My final score is 26-18. I got the New York Guardians winning the game. So, no, nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
Okay, I'm very pleased to hear that. All right. The other Saturday game, which will be at 5 p.m., over on Fox, it'll feature the Tampa Bay Vipers squaring off against the Seattle Dragons from CenturyLink Field in Seattle. A battle of 0-1 teams here. These two teams obviously looking to avoid that 0-2 hole. So, especially in a 10-game season, that's definitely not going to help at matters. So, Tampa Bay is opening up, believe it or not, as a 2.5-point favorite. And Kurt Menefee with Joel Klatt and Brock Heward, they will have the call for this. So MF, battle of 0-1 teams. We saw Tampa Bay, absolute dud performance against my New York Guardians.
Yep.
And then Seattle, they hung with DC for a little bit, especially Austin Proehl, the son of legendary Rams and Panther receiver Ricky Proehl.
Ricky Proehl, yeah. I gotta go with Seattle. I think they're gonna bounce back. I think they're gonna have a better game than they did the first time around. I just feel like they're the more superior team. I don't know why. I just feel like they're gonna be a lot more better, a lot more stronger. And I think Tampa's a mess. I didn't like what I saw with Tampa, especially when they were playing against New York. And I just am not convinced that they're gonna be another But, so I'm going to say it. I'm going to go with Seattle to turn it around. And this one, I'm even going to go as far to say this one's not even going to be close. I got 34-16, my final score. I just think Seattle is going to crush Tampa. So, Anthony, it's yours.
Oddsmakers really believe Mark Trestman's offense will rebound if they're giving the Vipers points on a big road trip. That might only be because Coach Trestman could be forced to turn to former USF star Quentin Flowers in the wake of Aaron Murray's Week 1 injury. And there's no doubting that could help. Seattle's also got its own quarterback health concerns, with gunslinging Brandon Silvers questionable to go. Still, the Dragons showed fight in their debut, and as long as Austin Proehl is getting the ball, they should steal their first W. I think it'll be a little bit closer than MF has it, but I'm going with Seattle. I agree with you, MF. Seattle wins. I'm going to go 22-20. That's all I can say there. Then we move on to the Sunday games, and this first game will be at 3 p.m. Eastern Sunday on ABC. The Dallas Renegades squaring off against the Los Angeles Wildcats from the StubHub Center in Carson City, California. Tom Hart with Joey Galloway and MF's boy, do it for the brand, Pat McAfee. Yeah, I mean, what an outstanding job he did last weekend in Texas, in Dallas, or Arlington, wherever you want to call it. Dallas opening up as a 4.5-point favorite. Josh Johnson returning would be a welcome boost for LA, which made headlines this week for axing its defensive coordinator after just one game. Would even that be enough to get them in the win column, though? Not with Landry Jones set to make his first start under his old friend and coach Bob Stoops. Dallas almost literally can't be worse on third downs than it was last week. And the Wildcats are probably going to need more than a few days to shore up all their apparent defensive holes. I'm sorry, MF, but I got to give it to the team that Derek Ferreira is rooting for, the Dallas Renegades. I got Dallas winning this game. My final score, 34-24. Should be a great game, though. So nothing more to say. MF, it's week 2, and we got an XFL Buddy Bowl. Derek Ferreira's Dallas Renegades against your LA Wildcats. So
yeah. Last week the Dallas Renegades basically fell flat on their faces. Oh. They had one of the worst performances of the week. They couldn't even score a touchdown in that game. That's how bad they were. But LA played good. They hung in most of the game and then just fell apart in the second half. The defense just blew up. So, I mean, I didn't have any problem with the firing of the defensive coordinator because their strategy and what they did in that game was bad. Hopefully they'll do better. But like you said, it's Landry Jones. You kind of hope and pray that he doesn't do that great. But even for myself, honestly, until we get our quarterback situations, because our starting quarterback was also hurt as well. So, unfortunately, I got to say Dallas. I think Dallas will bounce back. They'll probably win the game, but hopefully the home turf is going to be, helping us out and giving us the win, but we'll see. So nothing more to say. Anthony, I say Dallas wins this one, and I say the final score will be 33-20, 33-20, Dallas wins. So, Anthony, final game.
And the final game will be, now, I want to make sure I have the time right. My sheet here says 6 p.m. I heard 8 p.m. over on FS1 on a Sunday evening. And it will feature, and this is the other battle of 1-0 teams here. The St. Louis Battlehawks squaring off against the Houston Roughnecks from TD ECU Stadium on the campus of the University of Houston. I believe this will be where we'll have Kevin Burkhardt with Greg Olson and the All-American girl, Jenny Taft. So Houston opening up as the biggest favorite of the week. Houston opening up as an 8-point favorite. And MF, especially after what they did to your LA Wildcats, no big surprise.
Big surprise. And I totally agree. 6 o'clock kickoff for that game, Anthony, just to confirm. Right. I got to go Houston. Houston absolutely tore the house down last week. One of the most impressive performances I've seen in the XFL up to this point. And I'm going to say it. I like what Houston brings to the table. I think they're a very dangerous team. And I also am in an agreement that they're going to win this game. And I'm going to say it. I think this could be a blowout. I don't think this is going to be close. I'll go as far to give it the biggest margin of the week. I think this is going to be a 38 to I think it's going to be 38-14 when it's all said and done. Houston is just dominating. They can light up the scoreboard with ease. That's the one thing. Defensively, I'm a little worried. Offensively, they're stacked. I mean, I know better. I saw them last week against LA, and they were putting up numbers at will. They almost remind me of Kansas City's offense. They're that good. So, yeah, easy win for Houston. Anthony, go.
Last but certainly not least, this could easily be the most entertaining of the Week 2 games. St. Louis is supremely underrated with young Jordan Ta'amu guiding a ground-first attack and leaning on an opportunistic D. Houston, meanwhile, boasts maybe the biggest early star of the league. After the first week, my MVP and PJ Walker, who looked like a legitimate NFL caliber quarterback in a 4-touchdown debut. By season's end, the Battlehawks should be contending for the playoffs, but here and now, it's impossible to go against Walker and his arm. I think it'll be just a little closer than what MF thinks, but I do agree. I got Houston winning this game 29-20. And for me, Houston is my early favorite to win it all. So that's all I can say on that. Even though, you know me, I want to see my New York Guardians go all the way, just as MF wants to see his LA Wildcats go all the way. So we'll have to wait and see. So that all goes down this weekend. I look forward to it. And now to our main event of the evening, the other half of our double main event, rather. NBA All-Star Weekend, which goes down on Saturday and Sunday night. Saturday night, of course, NBA All-Star Saturday night. Well, it actually starts tomorrow night, actually. It starts tomorrow night with the Rising Stars game, but we don't really cover that. We only cover All-Star Saturday night and the All-Star game itself. And all of that will be live from the home of the Chicago Bulls, the Madhouse on Madison, the United Center in Chicago, Illinois, on TNT. And oh my, let's see if I can find all this. Hold on. State Farm, All-Star Saturday night. And it starts with the Taco Bell Skills Challenge. And participating in that, we got a great field here. We have, in no particular order, Bam Adebayo from the Miami Heat, Patrick Beverley of the Los Angeles Clippers, Spencer Dinwiddie of the Brooklyn Nets, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander of the Oklahoma City Thunder, Chris Middleton of the Milwaukee Bucks, rather. I got baseball fever. Milwaukee Bucks, not Milwaukee Brewers. Domantas Sabonis of the Indiana Pacers, Pascal Siakam from your reigning, defending, undisputed NBA champion Toronto Raptors, and just for you, Michael Bullock, your boy, Jason Tatum from your Boston Celtics. A week ago, it was announced that Derrick Rose would not participate due to injury. I hate to say it, but what else is new? Replaced by Shai Gilgeous-Alexander from OKC. So there's that event. Mountain Dew 3-point contest. We have Davis Bertans from the Washington Wizards, Devin Booker of the Phoenix Suns, Devontae Graham from the Charlotte Hornets, Joe Harris from the Brooklyn Nets, Buddy Hield of the Sacramento Kings, from the hometown Chicago Bulls, Zach LaVine, Duncan Robinson of the Miami Heat, and Trae Young of the Atlanta Hawks. Today it was announced that Devin Booker was going to replace Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard originally scheduled to compete in this event, but he's out with injury, so Devin Booker taking his spot. And then the main event of the evening on All-Star Saturday Night, of course, the AT&T Slam Dunk Contest. Pat Connaughton of the Milwaukee Bucks, Aaron Gordon of the Orlando Magic, Dwight Howard from the Los Angeles Lakers, and Derrick Jones Jr. of the Miami Heat. So there are your participants for All-Star Saturday Night. Let's get Michael Bullock back in here. Bullock, come on back in. You had your time to rest. Now let's get you back in here because this is stuff that I know you want to get into. NBA All-Star Saturday Night. You heard the participants for all the events. Who do you like in the All-Star Saturday and for the skills challenge, the 3-point contest and the dunk contest? Who are your favorites?
All right. Well, for the 3-point contest, repeat to me who's in that.
Davis Bertans of the Washington Wizards, Devin Booker of the Phoenix Suns, Devontae Graham of the Charlotte Hornets, Joe Harris, Brooklyn Nets, Buddy Hield, Sacramento Kings, Zach LaVine from the Chicago Bulls, Duncan Robinson from the Miami Heat, and Trae Young from the Atlanta Hawks.
Ooh, that's a tough one there, but you know what? I mean, I mean, we all know how good Devin Booker is from 3-point range, but then again, you could also say the same thing for Buddy Hield. But the thing is, Trae Young. I mean, what I've seen from him with the Atlanta Hawks is just, especially shooting from outside. So it's a tough one, but I gotta go with Trae Young to win the 3-point contest. I mean, I think it's gonna be a close one, but I think somehow Trae Young is going to pull it out and win the 3-point contest. And as far as what's the other competition? I mean, besides the dunk contest, Florio?
The Taco Bell Skills Challenge.
Yeah, the Skills Challenge, and who's in that one?
Bam Adebayo, Miami Heat, Patrick Beverly, LA Clippers, Spencer Dinwiddie, Brooklyn Nets, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Oklahoma City Thunder, Chris Middleton, Milwaukee Bucks, Domantas Sabonis, Indiana Pacers, Pascal Siakam from the champion Raptors, and from your Celtics, Jason Tatum.
Man, it's another tough one here. I mean, I like what I've seen from Pascal Siakam and Patrick Beverly, but you know what? There's something about Jason Tatum. I mean, of what I like. I mean, his skills are like really good. I mean, especially now in his third year in the NBA. So, I mean, it's tough, but I'm gonna go with my guy, Jason Tatum, to win. I mean, I think it's been a long time since a Celtic player has won any kind of competition on a All-Star Saturday night, and I think Jason Tatum's going to show that why the Celtics drafted this kid and why he's been one of their best players. So I'm going to go with Jason Tatum, and then there's just the dunk contest left, right?
Yes, with Pat Connaughton of the Milwaukee. Pat. Do you need the names or?
We'll just give it to me anyway.
Pat Connaughton, Milwaukee Bucks, Aaron Gordon, Orlando Magic, Dwight Howard, Los Angeles Lakers, Derrick Jones Jr., Miami Heat.
Oh, man. We've seen a lot of things when it comes to this dunk contest, but yeah, I'm going to go with I'm gonna go with Dwight Howard on this one. I mean, I think when you think of Dwight Howard, you always think of some of the things he's done in the dunk competition in the past. I mean, and some of his dunks are just entertaining. So, yeah, I'm gonna go with Dwight Howard to win the dunk contest. So I got Dwight Howard winning the dunk contest. I got Jason Tatum winning the skills competition. And then for the 3-point contest, I got
Trae Young.
Trae Young winning it. So that's who I think are going to come out winners come Saturday night. But in the end, I think we're all going to be winners here. Just for of what we're going to see on Saturday night.
And who do you like in the All-Star game itself?
Oh, the All-Star game itself.
Team LeBron against Team Giannis.
I'm going to go with Team Giannis to win the All-Star game. I mean Giannis. I think he's is. I just think he's got the better team, and Giannis is out there to prove why he is the new face of the NBA, and obviously not LeBron James. So it's when it comes to this All-Star game, it's when it's LeBron who is the current face and the man who wants to prove he's still the face of the NBA, while Giannis is saying, "Nah, LeBron, it's my time. I'm the new face of the NBA." So this is going to be something exciting to watch. So Florio, it's yours.
Yeah. So looking at the competitors for All-Star Saturday night, as far as the skills challenge goes, I mean, Bullock makes a great argument for Tatum. I mean, you know, he is a really great all-around guy, but there's something about Siakam. I mean, Siakam, that's definitely a guy you got to look out for, because, you know, he was, you know, one of those unsung heroes from the Raptors championship run of last year. But I got to go with Middleton. I mean, because, you know, Milwaukee's been the best team this year. They're poised for another run here. And I like what I've seen from Middleton. So I'm going with Chris Middleton to win the skills challenge. 3-point shootout, Bullock, I agree with you. I like Trae Young in that as well. I mean, he is, you know, he's one of the fastest rising stars. My young friend from church, Josh Avery, he absolutely loves this kid. And I can't say I blame him. And I can easily see him winning the 3-point shootout, no doubt about that. But if I had a second choice, my second choice would be Devin Booker of the Phoenix Suns. And in the dunk contest, I mean, Dwight Howard, we know what he's done. He's a former winner of that event. That infamous Superman moment that he had that made Kenny the Jet Smith lose his freaking mind. We'll all never forget that. But Aaron Gordon, you know, Aaron Gordon's got something to prove in that. Who will ever forget that epic showdown he had with Zach LaVine a number of years ago? And Gordon could end up stealing that out of nowhere. To me, I'm hoping the final is Howard against Gordon. If you get that in the final, that could be a Shakespearean drama classic. It really could. But Howard is the odds-on favorite and the logical choice, absolutely. But I'm going to take a chance, and I'm going to go with Aaron Gordon to win that. Because, you know, I still think about that epic showdown with LaVine and how close he came to winning it. But I think Gordon is due. But if Howard wins it, I would not be surprised whatsoever. Now, as far as the All-Star game is concerned, I mean, it's the third time that the city of Chicago has hosted the game. You got to go back to the first time they did it in 1973. And the other time, the last time, of course, we'll all never forget it, 1988 at the old Chicago Stadium. And this will be the first time in the United Center. So I'm really looking forward to that. I heard Jennifer Hudson is going to do a special tribute to Kobe Bryant, which I'm not at all surprised with that. Chance the Rapper, DJ Khaled, Lil Wayne, and Quavo are going to be the halftime act. So that's all there is to say on that. Frank Vogel is going to be the head coach of Team LeBron, and Nick Nurse of the champion Raptors, he's going to coach the Giannis team. So now you would think it would be his coach, Mike Budenholzer of Milwaukee, but he's ineligible to coach in the All-Star game as league rules prohibit a coach from coaching in consecutive All-Star games. He coached in the All-Star game last year. So, in no particular order, the Eastern Conference All-Stars, or Team Giannis in this case, you got Giannis Antetokounmpo, the reigning MVP. And he's going to be in the starting lineup along with Kemba Walker of the Boston Celtics, Trae Young, of the Atlanta Hawks, Pascal Siakam from the champion Raptors, and Joel Embiid of the Philadelphia 76ers. For the reserves, you have Kyle Lowry from the champion Raptors, Ben Simmons from the Philadelphia 76ers, Jimmy Butler of the Miami Heat, Chris Middleton of the Milwaukee Bucks, Bam Adebayo from the Miami Heat, Jason Tatum from the Boston Celtics, and Domantas Sabonis of the Indiana Pacers. For the West, or Team LeBron in this case, you got LeBron James, obviously, from the Lakers, and his starting lineup with James Harden of the Houston Rockets, Luka Doncic from the surprising Dallas Mavericks, Kawhi Leonard from the LA Clippers, and LeBron's teammate Anthony Davis from the Lakers. For the reserves, you have Chris Paul from the Oklahoma City Thunder, Russell Westbrook of the Houston Rockets, Damian Lillard of the Portland Trail Blazers, Donovan Mitchell from the Utah Jazz, Brandon Ingram of the New Orleans Pelicans, Nikola Jokic of the Denver Nuggets, and Rudy Gobert from the Utah Jazz. And it was announced, and I reported this on our Kobe tribute a couple weeks ago. Back on January 30th, it was announced that this game would use a new format. First three quarters will be individually scored as separate games, with the scoreboard resetting at halftime. The team that wins each quarter gets $100,000 for their team's charity. Otherwise, $50,000 to both teams if the period ends in a tie. At the end of the third quarter, the cumulative score will be posted on the scoreboard, and the entire period will be played under the basketball tournament's Elam ending, a rule recommended by Players Union President Chris Paul, who coached in the aforementioned tournament last year for the entire quarter. The NBA All-Star Game's Elam ending will use a target score of 24 points, more than the leading teams or both teams score in honor of Kobe Bryant. The winning team will win $200,000 for their charity if one team wins each of the first three quarters and reaches the target score first. $500,000 or $500,000 will be donated to the winning team's charity, and $100,000 will be donated to the losing team's charity. So, with all that being said, I mean, I know Bullock likes the Giannis team here, but I got to go with Team LeBron in this case. I think the LeBron team is more stacked, and especially, Kobe Bryant, LA Lakers, the whole 9 yards. I think Team LeBron is going to obviously win this one for Kobe. So I'm going with Team LeBron to win the All-Star game. Whereas in the All-Star Saturday night, I am going with Chris Middleton to win the skills challenge, Trae Young to win the three-point shootout, and Aaron Gordon to win the dunk contest. So that's my thoughts on NBA All-Star Weekend. MF, let's finish it off. Who do you like in the All-Star Saturday night events, and who do you like in the All-Star game itself?
All right. For All-Star Saturday night, to start out with the skills competition, I'm going to go with Patrick Beverley from the Los Angeles Clippers. I kind of feel like he's got the better feel for it, being a true point guard. And a lot of the times, the guards really do better in these competitions than forwards or anybody else. So I'm going to go with Patrick Beverley to win the skills competition. For the three-point shootout, this is tough. I could see Trae Young winning this. I could see Buddy Hield winning this. But I'm going to go with the hometown boy. I'm going to go with Zach LaVine from the Chicago Bulls. I kind of feel like normally when you're in the hometown arena, normally you get the fans on your side. And I kind of feel like Zach LaVine will probably get that momentum. And I think he's going to win it. As far as slam dunk, Anthony, I'm with you. Aaron Gordon is my winner. I think Gordon should have won it a couple of years ago over Zach LaVine. Just honestly, I loved Gordon's dunks better than LaVine. So I would say Gordon is going to get the rebound. He's going to get the moment. And I think he was going to win it. I know there was some people that were salivating over the fact of Gordon, Zach LaVine, and Dwight Howard being together in the competition, and there was a rumor about it. but Zach LaVine pulled out at the last minute to do the 3-point competition. And as far as the All-Star game itself, I'm with you, Anthony. I agree. I'm going with Team LeBron as well to win the All-Star game. So that's it. Nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
All right, and that will put the bow on this edition of Strictly Sports. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in as always. MF, another loaded edition of Cerebral Smack Talk tomorrow night, Friday Night SmackDown, and NXT TakeOver Portland. How about it?
That's right, and we're going to be doing it at 10:30 Eastern right here on this network. So we'll just tune on over to BraceFan 95, my home, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. So, Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah. And any word on when we're going to do the TakeOver Portland recap, MF? Will it be
Sunday night? Nope, Sunday night after the event goes off the air. We will be doing it. I'm probably saying at the earliest 10 p.m.
Good idea. I like the sound of that. So that works perfectly. So you heard it from MF here. Tomorrow night, 10:30, over on MF's channel, BraceFan 95, it will be the Cerebral Smack Talk. We will review Friday Night SmackDown. And then following that, we will preview NXT TakeOver Portland, the best NXT TakeOver card I've ever seen. I cannot wait to break it all down. And then Sunday night, immediately following TakeOver Portland, right around 10 or so, we will have our complete recap of TakeOver Portland. And then Monday night, Ridiculously Raw with me on right back here on the Tone 25. And, we'll run down Monday Night Raw, and I'll have my latest Tony's take on Impact Wrestling and 205 Live. And then Wednesday Night Mayhem with MF. We'll run down AEW Dynamite and NXT as always. And then this program next week, another docket. We don't know what will be on it yet, but the only thing I do know is we will be previewing week 3 of the XFL, and then we'll see what else we have in store. We'll put our heads together as far as the rest of the docket for next week, and then Cerebral Smack Talk all again. So there you have it. So until tomorrow night, 10:30 over on BraceFan 95 for the Cerebral Smack Talk. It's Anthony Florio here for Michael Bullock, and in spirit, good old MF Michael Fletcher, Dee Woodson, and always and forever Derek Forever. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Friday, and until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk with MF, you've been watching Strictly Sports right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. For everybody who has been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye.